I don't have the This board workshop is being conducted pursuant to Governor Greg Abbott's suspension of certain open meeting law requirements to the extent necessary to allow for telephonic and video conference meetings in response to COVID-19. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. The board is meeting by the use of Google Meets and telephone transmission, which allows two-way communication for members of the public during public comments. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time now is 5:48, and I call this workshop to order. Although a quorum is not necessary, I will acknowledge those trustees that are present. Mr. Nieto.
Present.
Jackie Sustaita. Can Mrs. Sustaita hear me? Coach Jesse Trevino.
Present.
Dr. Jaime Rodriguez.
Present.
Mr. Mark de los Santos.
Present.
And Mr. Andrew Gonzalez.
Present.
Public comments? There are none? There are none. Item number 3. Presentation by attorney firms that responded to the request for qualifications to provide legal services to the district, RFQ number 21-01-21. Dr. Canales.
Board trustees, we had 3 firms respond to the request for qualifications to provide legal services to the district. We will have presentations by each of the firms who submitted the qualifications. A 10-minute presentation followed by a 10-minute Q&A.
Okay. Do we have an order that we will follow, Mr. Sanchez?
Yes, Board President Cuellar, it will be alphabetical order,
Okay.
starting with the O'Hanlon firm.
Are we ready, gentlemen? May proceed.
Mr. Board President, I guess, good evening, Mr. Board President, members of the board, and Dr. Canales. Generally, the other participants step out of the room. I don't know how we would do it this time around.
That is procedure, right?
It's the way it's normally handled, yes. So
So we have that there, under the honor system, they step out of the meeting, they log off.
So President Clay, we're asking for the, anybody not with O'Hanlon, Tamarak, and Castile to please log off.
The other,
We return in about 20 minutes, or what would be best for the board?
20 minutes. We're following up. The next one on the list is Law Office of Eloy Sepulveda.
Yes.
So if the Law Office of Eloy Sepulveda will be ready to chime in 20 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are we good to go and everything's in order?
it appears to be.
Okay. Let's continue.
Thank you, Mr. Board President and members of the board, and Dr. Canales. I appreciate that that courtesy. Well, my name is Benjamin Castillo. I'm an attorney with O'Hanlon, Demarath, and Castillo, and I just want to mention, we have the honor of serving multiple school districts all over the state of Texas, but it's not very often that I get to present to a school board in the community where I live. I live there in your community, shop there. My kids are going to go to school there. So I just wanted to express that. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present to y'all and even be considered. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on. Today I have a couple of attorneys with me, Mr. Eden Ramirez, Mr. Audrey Gonzalez-Welter, Mr. Rico Garcia, and Mr. Nick Maddox. Mr. Ramirez, if you could please proceed with the presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Castillo, and thank you, members of the board, for providing us the opportunity to present to you today. Today, I'm going to go over a presentation just to introduce a little bit about who we are, what we do, and what we think we can provide to Weslaco ISD. We're excited to have this opportunity, so bear with me while I share my screen here real quick.
Is the audio okay for y'all?
Can y'all hear me okay? Awesome.
Okay.
There we go. So as we mentioned, we are the law firm of O'Hanlon, Demerat, and Castillo. We are attorneys and counselors at law, and we are a Texas-based firm here in the Lone Star State. When it comes to school law, there's nothing we don't do because we literally quite do it all. We are attorneys who practice in all facets of school law and other areas of the law as well. And our attorneys come from different backgrounds and experiences, and we range broadly with what we practice in. We go everything from civil trial to appellate litigation, general counsel services, employment and administrative law, contract negotiation, business disputes, school finance, management, governance, tax matters. These are just a few that I'm going to go into a little in a few PowerPoints where we're going to talk about all the other stuff we do. But what I do want to make sure that I can drive across to the members of Weslaco ISD is that we are a school law firm. That is what we are. That is what we do. We're not a firm that is widespread with other areas. We are very focused, very laser focused with the work that we do. And we want to make sure that our attorneys develop the skills and the competence when it comes to educational matters issue in order for us to provide all our districts, including Weslaco ISD, the opportunity to represent them in the best capacity possible. So when it comes to school law, our firm really does do it all. We are a statewide law firm, but we provide local solutions, and that's what we pride ourselves in. There's a lot of big law firms out there, and oftentimes in those big law firms, you don't get to know the partners, you don't get to work with the partners, you don't get to sometimes know who the attorneys are, and they send you to different attorneys for different things. The beauty about our firm is that you get the small law firm feel, but we have a statewide reach with the work that we do. So we do have offices in 3 parts of the state: the Rio Grande Valley, located here in FAR, our Austin, Texas office, and our San Antonio office. And we are looking into other areas. What we mean by statewide reach is that we do service districts all across the state. We go as far west as El Paso, and all the way to Houston, as north as the DFW area, all the way down here to where we're at in the Rio Grande Valley. So we service the entire state of Texas. We've had the opportunity to work with a multitude of school districts from the entire state, and we take a lot of pride in that because those are the kind of services that we can provide for you. Our attorneys, we have a range of attorneys, and I show the pictures not because I think that we're the prettiest attorneys, but because we are a very diverse group of attorneys. We have young attorneys, we have old attorneys, we have attorneys
Experienced attorneys. Experienced attorneys.
Experienced attorneys from diverse backgrounds, races, sexes. And so I wanted you to see who you have and who we would have the opportunity to work with. Everything from Mr. Kevin O'Hanlon, Mr. Justin Demerat, and Mr. Castillo, who are our partners, down to all of our associates that you can see here. The experience that they bring, that you're going to see here shortly, comes from a wealth of knowledge of backgrounds that really ties into educational law specifically. Our attorneys are board certified attorneys. Some of them are. That means that they have specialized in specific areas of the law that make them absolute experts. Specifically, we have board certified attorneys, appellate certified attorneys, and that really goes a long way with the quality of representation we can provide for Weslaco. One of our attorneys, our founder, Mr. Kevin O'Hanlon, he was the general counsel for TEA. So when you look at the education code in its current form, and when it was initially written to look like this, it was actually Mr. O'Hanlon in his capacity as general counsel who wrote the law. So he's a walking encyclopedia about the education code and can memorize even the most minute law codes and sections and in the law, which makes it really impressive because not only do we have the expertise of understanding the law, but one of our attorneys actually helped write the law when it comes to this. Our attorneys also include an assistant attorney general. When it comes to open records, we know that often you all are flooded with those services. One of our attorneys is actually, we stole her from the Attorney General's office, from the Open Records Division, and we brought her to our law firm just to make sure that we can provide the top-notch legal representation from individuals who did the work at the ground level as attorneys before they came on to represent the public sector. We also have a board member, a former board member, former board president, who's also one of our partners, Mr. Ben Castillo. So he really brings in the unique perspective from the board when they're exercising their duties and when we're giving legal advice. We understand that everyone looks at something from different angles, and we're able to provide those contexts. We also have former school administrators. I used to be the public information director for a local school district here in the Rio Grande Valley, so I come right from the school environment. We have state senator, general counsel, individuals who work with our state legislature at the general counsel capacity, lobbyists. We have clerks who work with the Texas Association of School Boards. We also had law clerks who work with the Texas Education Agency. We have adjunct professors, federal law clerks. So I mention all these things because I want you to know that we bring more than just the individual who went and took one path to become an attorney, but we come from all walks of life with all different experiences that really tie into the day-to-day work that Weslaco ISD will be doing and what the attorneys can bring to that perspective. And we think that's really important. When it comes to our clients, we really do work with a lot of clients. And I put this here not because I want to read one by one, but just so you can see that we really do mean business when we say we are a school law firm. And all these school districts you see here are districts we've been able to work with in various capacities. A lot of them here in the Valley, we do represent most of the school districts here in the Rio Grande Valley, but we also represent districts all over the state. That includes districts as big as Houston ISD, that are some of the biggest in the state, and even even the smallest school district up here in South Texas, Ramirez ISD. So we have the opportunity to work with the smallest school district and the biggest school district and everything in between. And I mentioned that just as a testament to our capacity. I'm sorry, go ahead.
80 kids. That's how big Ramirez ISD has.
80 kids. That's right. 80 kids. So something as small as 80 kids is something well over 100,000 with Houston, and including Fort Worth and El Paso, who are some of the biggest. But I mentioned that not because we specialize in the big or the small, but because that is the capacity our law firm has to be able to give you, is we do work with all sizes of school districts.
We have 1 minute. We have 1 minute.
Well, let me go ahead and close, Mr. Board President, if I may. So just like Mr. Ramirez was saying, but we have statewide resources, but we have a small firm field, and that makes a difference when it comes to customer service. We're always available. You can call any one of them at any time. If we're not available to answer, I'll respond with a text message. I'll tell you, I'll call you right back. And that's kind of our motto, customer service. You guys have questions, you need answers, and that's what we're here for. And so our mantra is, big term, but small town feel. I think that makes sense a little bit more here, or applies a little bit more to Weslaco, because I live in Weslaco. I'm from your community. I chose to live in Weslaco. I could have lived anywhere in the state after I graduated law school, but I chose to come to Weslaco and start my family there and continue on living with my community and my family as well. So thank you very much. Very, very, very much appreciated that you're giving us this opportunity to present to you all. Like I said, whether we get it or not, it's just an honor to be considered. It's an interesting feeling when you get to participate in these things in your own community. So I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, we will now entertain 10 minutes for questioning from trustees. Mr. Nieto, would you have any questions?
Yes, sir. I have a couple of questions, Mr. Castillo.
Yes, sir.
And your group of attorneys. How many years have you worked with school law?
Our law firm has been representing school districts since 1994.
So approximately over 20 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Second question. How many school districts do you represent in the RGV?
In the Rio Grande Valley, we represent almost everybody down here. We've been very, very blessed. We represent.
Essentially,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Mr. Garcia.
I said it's easier to say who we don't represent. Like everyone that we, essentially other than.
I mean, 10 plus down here, sir. I don't have the exact number.
Okay. And how many of your attorneys will be available for WISD?
All of us.
Which is
Wherever you guys decide. We don't pick the attorney for y'all. Y'all get to pick whoever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
I would, if selected, if we get that honor, I would take the lead at first. But if the administration's comfortable with somebody else or the board's comfortable with somebody else, we don't get our feelings hurt. We're here to work for you, not the other way around.
okay. That's all my 3 questions. Thank you.
And just to double check, we do represent 22 school districts here in the Rio Grande Valley.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Saita?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I was looking over at your information. I see that you have 49 plus school districts that you do service. Now, let's say we were to pick you and you represented us. Do you represent at the same time, obviously not the other 49, but would we be a main focus for you, or would we have to share you with several other districts?
So when I graduated college, I taught at Weslaco High School. I taught first semester at Weslaco High School before I went to law school. When I graduated law school, I actually worked for y'all as general counsel. That was my first general counsel job before I kind of got taken everywhere else. I can tell you that Weslaco has a special place in my heart. I really enjoyed my time working there. And if selected, if given the honor of being able to work for y'all, you guys would take priority. I can guarantee you that. And my wife would really like that too, because I'd be closer to home.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Trevino?
Have you, Mr. Garcia, have you previously worked in Weslaco before? Or I know at one point or another, O'Hanlon represented Weslaco.
Yes, sir.
And what happened there? They just went another direction, or?
Yes, so if I remember correctly, we represented Weslaco from 2014 to approximately 2016. There was a board election, and the board that came in decided to go in a different direction.
Okay, okay. Now, my other question is, any ties to any previous or current board members?
Ties, I mean, not necessarily. This is the first time I meet the 3 new board members. Congratulations, by the way, on your win. I know the previous board members just from my previous time in the district, but I haven't spoken to any board members in, man, I would say more than a year.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Rodriguez?
I'm good, Coach.
You good? Mr. Los Santos?
No, all my questions have been answered already. I think I had some of the same questions as Mr. Nieto.
How about Mr. Gonzalez?
And again, I think it's going to be about the same because Coach Nieto asked some pretty darn good questions. But again, I guess my 3 questions, obviously, how many school districts do you currently represent or in the past? Y'all have answered that. What percentage of your practice consists of representing school districts? Y'all have answered that. So let me just go to my last question. And I like when we have this process to ask the same question of all the firms so it can be consistent. And so I guess my last question would be, what percentage of your work do you believe you will source out to other firms? Or is your firm a one-stop shop? Your lawyers that are employed by you, are they familiar in all areas of school law? That would be, if y'all were chosen to represent our district, special ed, employment law, just school law is just big.
Yes, sir.
If you could just help me with that, and that would be really my only question.
Yes, sir. I mean, when you think about it, school law, it's really a general practice. Because you have to deal with contracts, you have to deal with personnel, you have to deal with special ed, and you have to deal with a multitude of things. And to answer your question, yes, my firm, me and Mr. O'Hanlon have specifically hired attorneys based on their areas of expertise. Like, for example, Mr. Maddox, who's on the screen, is an expert in special ed. He is the head of our special ed department. Ms. Audra Gonzalez Welcher on the screen here as well. She is a litigator. So we don't farm out anything. Mr. Garcia deals a lot with board government and personnel and issues like that, as well as Mr. Ramirez and myself. I go to a board meeting almost every night. And it's what we do, and we don't farm anything out. We don't have to.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo.
Does that satisfy? Okay, most of everything has been addressed, and what I was going to ask has been asked. So we appreciate your answers and listening to us, and of course listening to what you have to offer. So if there are no further questions, would it be safe to move on to our next firm? Andres?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
We'll get a coffee.
Do we have the other ones coming out in about 3 minutes?
We got a couple minutes for this. That way I can go to the.
What's going on?
And those are the ones that I normally ask just to find out, okay? Because at one time they only had like 6 or 7, but now they have, I guess. Right, yeah. I know, let's see, I don't know those, most of the attorneys. I know Mr. Castillo. He actually talked to me that one half semester. Yeah. And then he says, sir, I'm leaving. What?
Yes, no.
Mr. Sepulveda, are we ready to go?
If I can, may I start?
Okay, can everybody hear him? Okay, you got 10 minutes to tell us about yourself, and at the 9-minute mark, Coach Trevino and Dr. Canales will acknowledge that we have a minute left, and I'll acknowledge that. So without further ado, let us know about yourself.
Fair enough. I'm Eloy Sepulveda. First of all, I greatly appreciate you all giving me the opportunity to present our proposal. I'm Eloy Sepulveda. Next to me is Chris Cavazos. We also have a new lawyer in our office by the name of Veronica Martinez. Veronica is a Baylor grad. She's also a Weslaco High School graduate. And all of us are from Weslaco. We're born and raised in Weslaco, and we still live in the area. If you look at the RFQs, basically, what we want to do today is all the RFQs, they're all great. All of us have the experience in school law. We've gone to the seminars. We've done all that's need to be done in order to have the ability to apply for this job. But we, in our school district, which we represent, which is South Texas Educational Technologies and Montessori Schools here in Weslaco, Weslaco, McAllen, Harlingen, and Houston, we go beyond and beyond, above our employment. We go in and we teach. We teach the school district some areas. One particular is juvenile law. Juvenile law is a big problem in all school districts. And we go in and we teach the security guards and the administrators the aspects of juvenile law. And further do more, Chris basically is going to address that issue here today, and I'll address some further issues.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you again. I appreciate it. If I could go back and tell 13-year-old Chris Cavazos that one day he'd be applying for a position as an attorney with the school district of Weslaco, it would be a shock to him. So I appreciate your time and your, consideration of us. One thing that I think faces a lot of school districts that there's not enough focus on is early prevention and training for administrators, facilities, security guards, police of juvenile law. It's something that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of not if, but when. I think it's something that Mr. Sepulveda and I have focused on with the Montessori schools is being aggressive, moving forward with security and informing them of what options they have, what could happen, what will happen. I know in my many years as a district attorney, my years as a criminal defense attorney, my years working with the schools, we've seen all sorts of cases, victims, young ladies out crying to us, and that's something that it's really a three-pronged concern. One, of course, is child safety. That's paramount. Two is limiting school district liability. And three is just following the law. There's cases that come out of the schools. We need to be prepared. The staff needs to be prepared, teachers, principals, of what the proper steps are to ensure the investigation is done properly and ensure our children are protected. So that's something that we do. We offer a free program, free training to encourage development. And so that's one of the programs we offer. I'd like to pass forward to Mr. Sepulveda and talk about the other programs.
Also, another aspect that has problems with the school district and our school district is grievances. And that is a major problem. The three areas basically are personnel, salaries, and individual treatment that are felt that they're being treated unfair by the school district. We go in our school district here at South Texas Education Technology, we go in and we teach the principals and the staff how to avoid the grievances. First step is, we're having a problem here. Well, we teach the principals how to address that problem in order to avoid a grievance. If the principal sees that, hey, there's possibly a grievance coming down, we tell them, call us. Maybe we can mediate this and we can avoid the grievances. And it's been very successful at our campus. And we teach the educators, hey, these are our techniques. They work for us to work for you, and they've worked for us substantially. We probably have maybe 10 grievances filed a year in our school district. Why? Because we nip it at the bud. If there's going to be a problem, we're there, teach, and it's very successful. Also, if a grievance is filed, and when we took employment at South Texas Educational Technology and Horizon Montessori, and they were having grievances. The problems, there's 3 levels. Level 1, level 2 are basically heard by a grievance official. The problem we encountered was the official that was handling the grievances was basically messing up with the rules and the regulations, and that would automatically go to the next level. And we taught them how to avoid this. And we tell them, hey, you got problems, just call us. We'll address those issues. And it's been very successful for us at South Texas Educational Technologies. And we'll do this service. We won't charge the school district. We'll teach these people how to avoid this. And it's been very helpful. Also, another concern is with the Texas Workforce Commission. Chris and I have been very successful. I mean, we're batting 100 right now in the Texas workforce. And now with the new regulations with COVID, a lot of teachers don't want to go back to the classroom. There's very specific rules and regulations, and we've learned them. And basically, if a teacher files a complaint with the Texas workforce, we go out there and we represent the school, of course. And usually we've been very successful because we know the rules and the regulations, and we've been winning them. And you're asking, well, that's good. Well, what does that do? Well, number one, if we win there, it usually prevents a civil suit against the school district. I already got beat at Texas workforce. I'm not going to win district court. Another issue is it saves the school district tens and thousands of dollars throughout the year. Why? Well, if they win at the grievance board, hey, we got to pay unemployment. And we've been very successful in preventing that. And that we feel that that's a very important area right now, especially with COVID. Also, you know, I know we're running out of time. How much time do we have?
You still have about 3 minutes,
3 minutes.
3.5 minutes.
Okay. No, it's pretty short. We're trying to make this, you know, and again, you know, as the juvenile teaching the classes, we're not going to charge the school district, and we're going to try to teach everybody. As to the grievances, we'll go through each campus and we'll teach how to avoid agreements. Also, you know, Chris and I and Veronica, we're from Weslaco. We live in Weslaco. We pay taxes in Weslaco. We have our offices in Weslaco. We're not going to charge for time for travel. We're not going to charge it for overnight. That's our cost. If something happens, we're available 24/7. You call us, we'll be there within 30 minutes. We're from the area. Again, the most important thing is we're going to represent the Weslaco Independent School District and the school board. We do not represent individuals. And that's basically all we have. Is that correct, Chris? Mm-hmm. Thank you for your time. Do you have any questions?
Now I'm going to have the trustees entertain questions for y'all. And we'll start with Mr. Nieto.
Mr. Sepulveda, I have a couple of questions for you and your partner. The same questions that I asked the other firm. How many years have you worked with school law?
I have done approximately, this is my 10th year. We're starting our 11th year, and we represent South Texas Educational Technology and the Montessori schools here in McAllen, Harlingen, Weslaco, and Houston.
Okay. And you already answered question.
Aleem Ansari is the superintendent of the district.
Okay. And you mentioned that you'll have 3 attorneys available for WISD, correct?
That's correct, but I'll be the main lawyer.
Okay. That's the 3 questions that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nieto. Mr. Susaita.
Hi, Mr. Sepulveda. I'm looking over the
doing?
information they gave us about you. It says here the liability insurance coverage. You presently don't have any, but you would obtain some liability insurance coverage if needed. Would that be costing the district more, or how would that work?
We have coverage through South Texas Educational Technology. They provide it. We will provide our insurance through our own costs if we are hired. That's no problem. We can get that tomorrow. That's no problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
Costa Trevino.
Yes, sir. Mr. Sepulveda, have you, in the previous years, have you ever represented Weslaco in any shape or fashion?
Is that Weslaco Independent School District or
Yes, sir.
Weslaco?
Weslaco Independent School District, I'm sorry, WISD.
I have not, because my brother served on the school board for well over 20 years. My dad served on the school board for well over 20 years. And the nepotism laws not allow me to participate, and I would not do that. Also, my brother was a president of the School Board Association for the state of Texas. So we felt, to get a job anywhere, we think would be in violation of the nepotism laws. So that I did not apply anywhere until after he left and I got a job with South Texas Educational Technologies.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. That's it.
You're welcome.
No, sir. No questions? Thank you, sir. Mr. De Los Santos? None for you, sir. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Sepulveda, Mr. Cavazos.
How y'all doing?
I've had three questions and that I tend to ask to be consistent with the three firms that are applying. Y'all have already answered number one and number two, and it was how many school districts you represent and your year's experience. So let me just go ahead and go to my last one. What percentage of your work do you believe you will have to source out to other firms, or is your firm a one-stop shop where your lawyers that are employed by your firm, are familiar with all areas that apply to representing the school district, such as special ed, employment law, whatnot?
Okay, we have those issues now while I'm employed with South Texas Educational School District. We are capable lawyers. We know how to do the research. We know how to try cases. We don't, any lawyer that says he knows all school law, we don't purport to do that. We're not. Our stance is we know we can do the job. We've done the job and we do it right and we do it well. And we know how to do research. We know how to try cases, and we're not afraid of anybody. And we're up to date on the law. We're up to date on all, education, employment, contracts, et cetera, et cetera. We're up to date on it. We go to the seminars, we participate in the seminars, and we teach also. We teach juvenile law. We teach these classes also as part of our duties. We give our time. Hey, we've had Idea School District. Their teachers call us up. Hey, can you come over to the school district and hey, can you teach us some? Can you address the faculty on juvenile law? Sure, we're there. We can do it. We know we can do it. And we got the capability to do it. We're the right firm for the job. Oh, by the way, I went to school at Texas Southern. Chris went to school at the University of Texas, and Veronica went to school at Baylor Law School. So, we went to good schools. We passed the bar all the time, and we've been practicing for a while. We've never had a grievance filed against us in 33 years of my practice. Chris, I know in his 10 years, never has, and I know Veronica hasn't.
You good?
I'm good. Thank you, Mr. Sepulveda, Mr. Cavazos, for your time. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care, guys. Stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Sepulveda.
Thank
you. Have a good one now.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Okay. Do we need a?
We have about 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Are the other ones ready? You text them. Monday. Are they on?
I see Andreas.
Do they have a number on the text? We said 6:33, right? 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. I'm waiting for the team to log on. I think Mr. Los Santos will be leading the charge this evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, I'm on. Can you guys hear me?
Mr. Los Santos?
Yes, sir.
Okay, y'all will have 10 minutes to tell us about yourself. And at the end of that time, or as we near the 10-minute mark, we'll notify you that you have a minute left. And then we will have our trustees ask questions of y'all when you have presented your information to us. You may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Quaid. I appreciate it. First, let me express my appreciation to this board and to this district for allowing us the opportunity to present our services, specifically to serve the district as general counsel. With me today, we have my team from the Valley office, Mike Saldana, Priscilla de la Garza, and Leandro Ortiz. It is an honor to be before this board, not only because I have a high degree of respect for public education and school districts, but on a personal note, this is my home district. Graduated in 1990 and have had a lot of success in my career, largely due because of the community and the school district that I was part of. A little bit about our firm. Our firm was founded in 1983 with very diverse individuals with different backgrounds, but with one common purpose, and that is to make a difference in public education. That is what we do, and that is all of what we do. We've been working in support of that belief for 37 years, and I'm very proud to be part of this organization. We have a long history with the district. We've been working with Weslaco ISD in different capacities since 1996, 6 years after I graduated high school. I'm also very proud of that. Part of, I think, what makes us different than the other organizations that you'll be looking at, other firms you'll be looking at, is not only this singular focus, but the breadth and depth of our bench. We have over 60 attorneys across the state of Texas and New Mexico with 7 specific offices. We represent over 500 school districts in the state. During periods of uncertainty, during periods of crisis like we're currently in due to COVID, that deep bench comes in handy. We are dealing with COVID issues across the state and sharing information and leveraging that information to the betterment of our clients. But we also understand the importance of understanding the communities that you're in and the local dynamics. And that is why the firm has invested in our Rio Grande Valley office. And that is why we're here to present. We believe we can serve you well. You are interviewing fine firms. We believe that our focus is what sets us apart. I am going to turn over my part of the presentation now to Mike Saldana to speak specifically about our approach.
Good evening, members of the board. Again, echo Mr. De Los Santos. Thank you for allowing us to present and have this honor and privilege to be before you this evening. We try to bring a practical approach and exercising the will of the board. We work with the board at all times in terms of direction, ideas in which the board wishes to move in certain areas, specific problems that may be happening, as Mr. Los Santos has indicated regarding our COVID issues right now, and up to and including a variety of issues that are, for example, our FAB team, our facilities and business department specializes in school construction. We have somewhere in the vicinity of 7 attorneys in that department alone. We take this board goal and these board ideas and we work collaboratively then with administration to execute and implement those goals and directives as efficiently as possible, and to be an aid to the board and to the administration in ultimately effectuating the will of the board, whether it be in issues of student discipline, there's current issues regarding COVID, the issues regarding business procurement. We cover all of the bases in regards to school law because that's all we do is school law. Our track record speaks for itself. We have extensive experience, as Joe indicated, not only across the state, but here in the Valley, as general counsel for a vast variety of school districts here in the Valley, as well as in all parts of Texas. We also, in addition, have a substantial amount, a great amount of administrative law experience in working with the different administrative agencies, specifically the Texas Education Agency and the administrative hearings that they conduct. EEOC, Texas Workforce Commission, and the variety of other administrative agencies that schools and school boards need to deal with. Additionally to that, we have very deep litigation bench, as Joe likes to refer to it. We have extensive experience in the courthouse, at the Court of Appeals, statewide, and at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. We have an outstanding record. I personally have tried over 70 jury trials to a verdict. And we have in our litigation team individuals that have tried a similar amount of cases, and we're very proud of what we do in the schoolroom, at the administrative, in the schoolhouse, at the boardroom, at the administrative level, and in the courthouse. At this point, I'll pass it on back to you, Joe. I think you're going to pass it on to Leandra. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. I've asked Leandra to talk briefly about the legal services that we provide, so the board can get a fullness of what services we can provide as a one-stop shop.
Yes, good evening, members of the board. Again, my name is Leandra Ortiz. It's a pleasure to be with you all this evening, even virtually. Just my role this evening is to provide you just with a very brief overview of the legal services that we provide. And at the end of the day, in summary, we have what Joe just mentioned is a one-stop shop. All of our attorneys are school attorneys. And working with the district since 1996, the firm provides services in all areas of school law. As Mr. Saldana mentioned, business law, commercial law, litigation, as well as general school law, day-to-day school law, immigration issues, special education that Ms. De La Garza is going to speak to, civil rights issues, anything and everything that pops up. That's we're the ones that handle those types of calls. We also are full service to the board. The board itself is our client. We have round the clock. You can find us available. Any of our attorneys are available to you around the clock, as well as appearing and being involved in the governance issues and present at your board meetings at the will of the board. So anything and everything, again, we're very proud to say that we are recognized leaders in school law, and our focus is schools. And so I'm going to hand that over now to Ms. De La Garza to conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Leandra. Again, my name is Priscilla. I'm really happy to be here with this board. Along with providing legal advice, legal assistance on everyday matters and litigation, we're also a firm that provides trainings to our district. We're the only firm in the Valley that is TEA certified to provide the required trainings for boards. That includes trainings on the Open Meetings Act, the Public Information Act, the Team of 8 training, and the required administrator trainings, which include trainings on human trafficking, child abuse, and the like. We're also able to provide all of your staff with training, your auxiliary employees, your...
You have 1 minute left.
Okay. Your teachers, your administration, your board with any topic or to provide training on any topic related to school law. We have on-demand webinars for your administration, featuring our attorneys on relevant legal issues. We develop products like the Bullying Handbook, the Title IX handbooks. And I wanted to conclude with our specialization in special education law. We are considered one of the leaders in sped law. Over the past 10 years, we've won 10 cases at the Fifth Circuit related to special education and 18 overall at the Fifth Circuit. That is in addition to numerous due process hearings, numerous cases at district courts. And I am personally one of our firm's special education attorneys. I'm working with the district now on 3 special education matters. And I, along with my team, we would love to continue working with the district. And
That is 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I will now have our trustees ask questions, and we'll begin with Mr. Isidoro Nieto.
Questions for Mr. Los Santos and of course your partners. How many years have you worked with school law?
Overall, as a firm, over 37 years. Me personally, over 22 years. Mike, I believe, has been practicing for 31 years. Leandra for 16 years. And last but not least, Priscilla, 3 years.
Thank you. How many school districts do you represent currently here in the RGV?
In terms of retainer clients, we have 18, specifically as general counsel, 9 school districts.
Okay. And final question. How many attorneys will Weslaco ISD have available from your firm?
It's depends on what the district needs and wants. We have over 60 attorneys at the district's disposal, depending on the area of law that's needed, but specifically dedicated to the district. Certainly our Valley team, Mike, Leandra, Priscilla, and we have my personal commitment in terms of support of the district and all the resources it needs.
Thank you, Mr. Los Santos.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, Mrs. Sustaita.
Hi, good evening. Mr. La Garza, you mentioned that you already work with Weslaco ISD. Is that correct? Do you guys already represent Weslaco ISD in the special education law?
Yes, we have a retainer agreement with the district, and I am working on three special education matters.
Okay. And I was looking over at your information. There's in the Rio Grande Valley, you have 3 attorneys, I guess, that are living here. So, and then into San Antonio is Mr. De Los Santos. So with this, if we need to meet or get together, is this something that, let's say, monthly meetings? Would they be coming down to visit with us, or how would that work with you guys?
I can speak to that. It really depends on what the district needs. COVID has, been impactful for a lot of different reasons, right? Both good and bad. One of the things that it's done is allowed us to explore and use technology like we're doing today in very efficient ways. But we are committed to walk with the district and its needs. And so if you need us there in person, we have no problem with that. And as far as what the district resources or needs will be, that all depends on the circumstances.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Trevino?
Jackie already asked one there about how many or previously represented Weslaco. My other question would be, I know you mentioned there's 4 attorneys that live here in the Rio Grande Valley.
3, sir.
3? Do we have the freedom? I know you. There are 2 right now that are listed here, but do we have a freedom to select anybody from the 10 that you guys have provided to Weslaco ISD?
Yes, sir, you do. We have a philosophy in the firm that it's not my client, it's our client. And so that all the firm represents the school district. And so depending on, again, what your needs are, you may want to or have a preference to work with someone in particular. And so we certainly respect that and honor that. As the client, it's your choice.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Jaime?
No, sir, I have none.
None. Mr. Los Santos?
All my questions have been answered. No, thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes. Good evening, Mr. De Los Santos, and to the rest of your firm. Again, to stay consistent, I'm just going to ask one question because y'all have already answered the first 2. So even though y'all answered it in your presentation, I'm going to go ahead and ask the answer just to be fair across the board because I asked the other 2 firms. So my question would be, is what percentage of your work do you believe you will source out to other firms, which you've answered, and is your firm a one-stop shop, which you've answered? So really, it really became in what areas do you cover as far as special ed, employment law? But again, just to be fair and consistent with what I asked the other firms, I just wanted to ask that question just because y'all have already answered the question for me. But again, just wanted to be consistent.
Yes, Mr. Gonzalez, there's one area we don't do, and that is tax collection. And that wasn't what the proposal was, but I want to make that clear. That's not an area that we focus on. But you can generally describe our areas of focus as special education, litigation, FAB, what we call facilities and business, and general education, which covers everything, including student issues, employment issues, constitutional issues, and things that impact district's operations on a day-to-day.
Thank you. Thank you all.
In addition, sir, if I can mention, we also have a substantial litigation department, and we are on TASB's litigation list. We are appointed by TASB Risk Pool to represent and litigate cases and defend school districts across the state.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. My brothers and sisters in the litigation group would probably not forgive me, but thank you for clarifying that.
Okay. Mr. Los Santos, we have a board member, Mark De Los Santos. Is there any relationship here where this might be a conflict of interest with him voting on?
There is a relationship, but I realized I researched that on the front end. It's not in a prohibited degree or within the degree of requiring him to fill out a conflict disclosure. So we've already vetted that, and there is no conflict.
So there is no conflict. You've answered my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, well, we appreciate everything y'all brought to us, and now we have some decisions to make. So,
yes, sir.
Thank you
Very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, are we ready to go into the board meeting section, or do we need a little break? Okay, let's take a quick little break and
Let
then
me
we'll.
just get coffee.
Okay, good evening. I am Armando Guerra Jr., President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This regular board meeting is being conducted pursuant to Governor Greg Abbott's suspension of certain open meeting law requirements to the extent necessary to allow for telephonic and video conference meetings in response to COVID-19. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. The board is meeting by the use of Google Meets and telephone transmission, which allows two-way communication for members of the public during public comments. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time now is 7:03. And I call this meeting to order. I'll now begin the roll call to establish a quorum. Mr. Isidoro Nieto.
Present.
Mrs. Jackie Sustaita.
Present.
Mr. Jesse Trevino.
Present.
Dr. Jaime Rodriguez.
Present.
Mr. Mark de los Santos.
Present.
And Mr. Andrew Gonzalez.
Present.
And myself, Armando Cuellar. We have a full quorum present. Public comments? There are none. We'll go to item 4, discussion and possible action for the board to rank the attorney firms and respond to the request for qualifications to provide legal services to the district, RFQ number 21-01-21. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, during the December 17, 2020 regular board meeting, the board approved for the administration to release a request for qualifications for attorney firms to provide legal services to Weslaco ISD. An advertisement was placed in the Monitor on December the 23rd, Wednesday, and 27th, Sunday, 2020. The request for qualifications was released on December the 23rd, 2020, with a deadline of Wednesday, January the 6th, 2021. Criteria relating to the experience was requested in the RFQ. Number 1, licensed to practice as attorneys in the state of Texas. Number 2, have at least 5 years of experience in the field of school district law, all areas. Our district received a total of 3 qualification statements from the attorney firms listed alphabetically in a table below. A copy of the qualification statements received has been provided to you at this meeting. As part of the ranking process of the attorney firms by the school board, we're including a summary of qualifications of each firm and a ranking sheet for the board to use. The board will rank the attorney firms from number 1 to number 3, with number 1 being your top selection. The attorney firm with the lowest overall score would be considered the highest ranked firm. We have a special called board meeting on Thursday. At that time, board to approve a contract with the attorney firm ranked number 1. In the event that the board is not able to negotiate a contract with the attorney firm ranked number 1, negotiations will be terminated. Then contract negotiations will be initiated with attorney firm ranked number 2. In the event the board is not able to negotiate a contract with the attorney firm ranked number 2, negotiations will be terminated. The contract negotiations will be initiated with the firm ranked number 3. In the event the board is not able to negotiate a contract with the attorney firm ranked number 3, negotiations will be terminated. The procurement process will start all over again. So Board of Trustees, at this time, you do have your ranking sheet. We're asking you to rank the legal firms, with number 1 being the top choice. Please sign it and date it, and Mr. Sanchez will collect it, and we will calculate. We do have one trustee that is attending virtually, and we will receive a copy of that ranking as well.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. We now have the rankings in the following order. Receiving the number one ranking is the firm from Walsh Gallegos, Trevino, Russo, and Kyle. Second was the firm from Eloy Sepulveda. And third was O'Hanlon, Demerith, and Castillo.
Rankings?
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Andrew Gonzalez to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Dr. Jaime Rodriguez. Seconds. Any discussion? If not, we'll take it to a vote.
Will you repeat what the rankings were for me, Coach Craig?
Pardon again?
What were the rankings? Number one was who?
Number one was Walsh Gallegos.
Okay.
Number two, Eloy Sepulveda.
Okay.
And number three was O'Hanlon.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, let's take it to the vote. Mr. Isidoro Nieto, do you approve?
Aye.
Mrs. Sustaita?
We can't, she's a mute. Mrs. Saita, please unmute. We couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry. Aye.
Aye, thank you. Coach Trevino?
Aye.
Dr. Jaime?
Aye.
Mr. Los Santos?
Aye.
And Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Motion carries. Dr. Canales, we now go to item 5, adjournment.
Adjournment, sir. Yes.
So
sir.
move.
Thank you. The time is 7:13. And we are adjourned.